right. While we wait for a few more folks to pop in, I'm going to do just a little bit of housekeeping. I want to say welcome. My name is Jennifer Barber, and I am your Assistant Vice President of Alumni Relations here at Sacramento State. We're so glad you're joining us tonight. We are going to have a great conversation with Mark Orr, who's our athletics director, a little bit about what does college athletics look like right now. Throughout the presentation, we will have all of the participants muted. So if you do have questions, please share those through the chat button. To make sure that you're seeing Mark during his presentation at his fullest, you may want to select the speaker view in the upper right-hand corner of your Zoom window. And we are recording this event and may post it at a later date on our YouTube channel. So just want to make sure you're aware of that if you wish to hide your name or anything of that nature. Let's see, we have a couple more people in the waiting room. And with that, we have a good number of folks in already. So I am going to say welcome once more to the couple of folks who just joined. And I want to say thank you to Mark Orr for agreeing to speak with us tonight about college athletics during this time of COVID. And with that, I am going to pass the evening on to him and let him share a little bit about what he's seeing not only here on campus at Sacramento State, but what guidance we're hearing from the NCAA, how the events of our nation are kind of playing out in college athletics, the CSU system, our various athletic conferences, and kind of give us the lowdown, and then we'll go into questions. And again, put those questions in the chat feature and we'll be sure to get those asked. But that gives us an opportunity to consolidate similar questions. So with that, Mark, are you able to unmute yourself and kick it off?
Okay, there it goes. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And Jennifer, thank you for having me. Before I get started, I can tell you what's happening around our world and our country at this time with the tragedy of George Floyd and the treatment of African Americans in our country certainly has affected our student athletes, our community. Everyone here at Sacramento State. I've been very proud of how our coaches and our student athletes have responded. We believe we can be a model to our country. Certainly sports welcomes people from our backgrounds and races and ethnicities, and hopefully we can make a difference and make a change. So it's been a difficult time for our student athletes, for our coaches, and for our community. But we're very proud to be here at Sacramento State, and hopefully we can be part of positive change. So I felt like to get started, I wanted to make sure all of you know what's happening currently in our communities is affecting us deeply, and we're certainly paying attention. We want to be part of change. That said, obviously COVID-19 is something that has had a significant impact, not just on college athletics, but our university and our community. I'll take you back on March 17th when all this hit. I was actually in Boise, Idaho, for the Big Sky Conference basketball championships. So you guys obviously were probably following our teams. We had just won a game with men's basketball, or women's basketball team that just finished. And we got a call from our conference commissioner that our presidents had voted to cancel the Big Sky Conference tournament. And we were on the next flight back from Boise to Sacramento. When we got back home, obviously, the college sports season in March Madness was canceled. And then shortly after, all of our spring sports were canceled. So delivering that news to our student athletes that their seasons have concluded. Some of them were seniors, and that was their last opportunity to wear the green and gold in competition. Many of our student athletes, as you guys know, prepare their whole lives to play college sports at Division I athletics. This is something they've worked for a very long time, and to have it taken away due to a pandemic like this was obviously initially very difficult for them to understand. As we went along, initially, I think all of us thought that this would be maybe a few weeks or a month, or, obviously staff started exiting campus. We thought sports would come back, but more and more you started to see the NBA season get canceled, Major League Baseball get canceled, and what was happening across our world. You realize very quickly this is much more serious than in just a few weeks problem. A couple things have also occurred. Obviously, COVID-19 and the disruption it's had in NCAA athletics and on college campuses across the country has had a significant financial impact. Most of resources have been reduced. The NCAA itself takes home $6 billion a year from March Madness, from NCAA basketball tournament. Obviously, not having a tournament this year meant that revenue did not come to the NCAA. How that affects Sacramento State, we get a distribution every year from the NCAA to help run our programs. Without having March Madness this year, our distribution was about $900,000 less than what it is in typical years. So understand that's close to $1 million less revenue we were receiving in 1 year just due to the cancellation of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. So we spent initially over the last couple months just trying to figure out budgets and provide the resources for our student athletes if and when they do return. So that's been a big part for all of our jobs. The Big Sky Conference also has been meeting regularly. The presidents, the athletic directors, the coaches. The first piece of it, as with all of us, is the concern of the safety of our student athletes and making sure they're doing okay. So we've spent a lot of time developing mechanisms to ensure their safety. Obviously, the next piece was how can we do cost containment measures if and when we get back to competition to help all of our institutions in this difficult financial time. So, for instance, next season's Big Sky Conference volleyball season, we won't be playing a conference tournament. We'll play less regular season games. We're going to try to do more local travel or play opponents that are closer to home. So all these different measures to save costs but still provide the student athletes a positive experience. I get the question quite often, when is college sports going to come back? Are we going to play football again? And quite frankly, I don't know. I wish I could tell you today, this is what 2 months are going to look like from now. This is what next week is going to look like from now. We don't know. That said, we're preparing for every scenario. I do believe that at some point, college sports will be back. However, I will say it will look very different. There could be situations where we play less games than we usually do. There could be scenarios where we're playing without fans in attendance. There could be scenarios where we may have to play opponents twice in one season instead of our traditional one time. There's been scenarios that seasons could be moved to different parts of the year, meaning you can play a volleyball match instead of playing in the fall, you can play that in the spring. So there's all these different types of scenarios that all of us are preparing for. That said, I feel pretty confident that we will be playing college sports next year. Where are we at today? I think we're trying to figure out a phased approach to get student athletes back on campus and participating in their sport. My biggest concern right now regarding student athletes, as I said earlier, this is what they've been doing their whole lives. Playing sports and interacting with their teammates and hanging out in the dugout or going on a bus trip or training for their sports. And most of them have been in isolation for the last couple months and exercising on their own and doing things at their apartments or with their families. And they haven't been able to get together with their teammates other than virtual Zoom meetings like us. So it's really important for us to get them back together when it's safe. And I do get concerned about some of the mental health that we have with student athletes. Athletics is certainly a big part of their identity. And it's important for us to bring them back when it's safe and do it the right way. So right now we're in the planning phase of just something small, getting student athletes back where they can do some basic conditioning on campus. And that may be just running and getting back in shape. That's not practice, that's not competing, that's not even lifting weights. Just something as basic as getting students together in very, very small groups, meeting the social distancing guidelines and the stages within our county to be able to get them back. That small piece would go a long way with our student athletes. I've been in meetings just about every single day with campus health officials. We have one of the best health centers and staff on the medical side on campus than anywhere I've been in my 20 plus years in college athletics. So we have a great team here at Sacramento State, meeting regularly with our president's cabinet and our leadership on campus. Again, trying to figure out ways that we can engage our students and get them back, but in a very safe manner. And I feel like we're on the right track, and we're putting pieces in place in order to do that. In terms of next steps after that, if that goes well, obviously we got to continue to follow the county health process and what's happening in our state. That will eventually evolve into practice and competitions and hopefully fans being able to enjoy the Hornets once again. On a national level, and NCAA-wise and Big Sky-wise, one of the biggest challenges we have as an NCAA organization, the NCAA is made up of 351 Division I schools, and it spreads over the entire country. And each state has different return to sports requirements. So where we're at in California is much different than where Montana's at or Arizona. So just within the Big Sky Conference, one of our conference opponents is Northern Arizona. They've been open for the last 3 weeks. Their students are going to class right now in summer school. Their restaurants and bars and everything else is fully functioning right now. So it's a very different environment in Arizona than it is in California. And we don't know if those counties and those regulations are going to line up perfectly when athletic competition eventually comes back. So imagine that across 50 states, where every state is and every county is, still trying to put on fair competition amongst NCAA Division I athletics. So that's a very difficult challenge. The NCAA is trying to do the best they can to maintain competitive equity, but at the same time understanding each state is going to be in a different place, and each county is going to be in a different place, and each university may be at a different place. So I think this year and nationally is just going to be unique, and we'll have to adapt and adjust. The other challenge that I think all of us will face is if and when we do get back to competition or practice, how do we handle if somebody does get diagnosed with COVID-19 or a virus does spread amongst your team or your opponent, and all the contact tracing and notification, cancellation of games, moving of competition would also come into play. All those types of things have certainly impacted athletic directors across the country. We're dealing with it. I think what motivates all of us is we want to do what's best for our student athletes. We want to give them the experience that we promised them when we brought them to our universities and into our athletic programs. And we want to do that in a safe way. So it's a lot of work, I think we're on the right track here at Sacramento State. Our coaches have been very engaged and outstanding in handling all of this. Our student athletes, as you can imagine, are very anxious to get back to their teammates and classmates and friends. And behind the scenes, myself, our leadership team on campus, our athletic administrators have been working very hard to try to put together plans that can bring students back in a safe way while maintaining all the regulations from the county, the CSU system, and the state of California. So that's sort of where we're at. I'll stop there for a moment because I know that was a lot. At least open it up for some questions, or if Jennifer, if something else you want me to go over, I'll be happy to.
Thank you, Mark. I think pausing for a question right now would be great. We have had one posed about whether the NCAA has made any decisions about student athletes who were in their senior season and whether they would be granted another year of eligibility.
Yeah, that's a good question. And for those seniors, student athletes whose seasons ended, I'll give an example. Baseball. Baseball had only played maybe 10 or 11 games of what typically is a 50-game season. And very abruptly, that season ended. No senior day, no send-off, no anything. The NCAA has granted an extra year of eligibility for all those seniors and student athletes that wish to return. The challenge is most seniors had already had plans after graduation and weren't planning to stay another year in college. So we had about 40 or so seniors that were affected by the stoppage in March. Of those 40 seniors, we have about 12 to 13 of them that are planning on coming back next year for an additional year, either by declaring a double major, or a few of them are planning to go to graduate school and at least come back for another year. The remaining, 25 to 30 seniors had already had plans for jobs or life after Sacramento State, are obviously graduating. We've got to figure out a way in the fall or next spring to recognize those seniors appropriately and go through some sort of senior day or senior recognition for them. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do it this year, but we certainly will make it up to them in the future.
Along those same lines, do you anticipate, depending on the outcome of what sports get to play in what fashions during the upcoming academic year, with whether similar eligibility extensions would be offered?
Yeah, I think the NCAA has been very active in providing several COVID-19 relief efforts. So certainly if seasons are impacted in the fall, we'll have similar relief. We've also had several relaxation of transfer guidelines. We have several student athletes who don't want to go away to school or may want to stay home and go to school and are getting relief from the NCAA to transfer to their local school and be able to do that. So obviously, as they should be, the NCAA has been very flexible in relaxing its rules due to COVID-19 issues.
How does this pandemic impact on athletics impact the individual students and their scholarships and their ability to persist to a degree?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of the online virtual education or not, and I'm speaking for Paul Edwards. We're very fortunate to have one of the best academic support systems on campus that work closely with our student athletes. Is certainly in the conference, and I would say probably one of the best in the country. Our student athletes this past semester got some of the highest grades they've ever had. We were close to a 3.2 GPA cumulative of all the student athletes combined. So academically, our student athletes did a great job in the classroom, and we haven't fallen back on the academic side. Now, I don't know if it continues on virtual education, if we see an impact, or if students decide not to come back and register for classes. Certainly that can have an impact on graduation rates or academic progress. But thus far, I'm very proud of how our student athletes have handled the change in the academic delivery of their curriculum. And I think they showed very well this spring semester in doing what they needed to do academically. And hopefully we can keep that up.
Fantastic. Let's see, we have another question coming in. Even though the CSU system has decided to have a primarily virtual fall semester with regard to academics, is it still possible that athletic events may occur on campus? And if so, when would those type of decisions need to be made in order for it to be safe for the students to play, because they need time to get in shape and practice and all of that?
Yeah, I think a couple things. Obviously, the CSU put out that our instruction will be primarily virtual. That does not mean our campuses are closed or shut down or anything like that. And you know, it's interesting when that announcement came out from Chancellor White, just the media and what people picked up on in terms of that announcement. The announcement is we're primarily delivering our instruction virtually, and there will be some in-person activities taking place on campus, not just athletics. There's other in-person, maybe some in-person instructional courses or other areas on campus, housing or different elements. As it relates to athletics, yeah, I think there's an opportunity and a chance that there will be some athletics events on campus. It won't be the same as it was in fall of 2019. You got to understand, athletics has always been a year-round operation. You know, last fall of 2019, we had all 21 teams here practicing, competing, close to 600 athletes. You know, doing anything and everything. I don't anticipate that being the case this fall, to be honest. That said, do I think there's opportunities for a limited number of athletic events and activities taking place? Yes, assuming you know, the county and public health wise and the CSU system and our campus, we can ensure student safety, and we have good plans in order to do so. We're not there yet, and I certainly can't say anything for sure, but we're planning for those opportunities.
Wonderful. I think from the comments I'm seeing, lots of people are eager to be out and supporting our student athletes. With that in mind, are there any models around the country that you're looking to as you're building your plans for how we might return to play?
Well, certainly I start with what's happening in our own community. So we're certainly following what the Sacramento Republic is going to do, the Sacramento Kings, you know, UC Davis, other CSU campuses. You know, Cal Poly is obviously a university that's also in the Big Sky and a CSU campus. So we're looking at several different schools and professional organizations to learn from others. That said, we're Sac State. We're Hornets. We're going to do it our way. That makes sense for our student athletes and meets the criteria of our university and our county. You know, I think we have good people here and very, very smart medical experts that will guide us in the right direction.
Wonderful. And you touched on earlier something that some of us have read a little bit about is our student athletes, many times their identity is very wrapped up in their sport. That it's something they have practiced since early childhood, and this time can feel very isolating. Is there anything that we can do as alumni, as Hornet fans, to help support those student athletes and know that we're thinking about them at this time when they can't be practicing their sport, their area of expertise?
Yeah, I think obviously if you know of any of our student athletes or you see them or you follow them on social media, send them some good messages. And as I said, what's most difficult right now for me is we do have student athletes who are very much tied to their sport and always has been, and they're very much tied to the relationships they've built with their teammates and their coaches and their classmates and their teachers. And it's very losing that connection. There's only so much we can do here on a Zoom meeting. Imagine being a 19, 20, 21-year-old, and you've been playing your sport and hanging out with your teammates your whole life, and pretty without much notice, that's been taken away. So mental health and identity for athletes is a very, very serious matter. And I think I think any of you out there that know our student athletes or are connected with them in any way, offering words of encouragement and wishing them the best would certainly be helpful.
Wonderful. I think I don't have any additional questions in the chat stream. I don't know if anyone else out there is madly typing away, but if you have any additional things you'd like to share, I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Sure. I do have, I didn't answer this because I know as alumni, I often get the question, are we planning for fall sports with fans in the stands, or what's going to happen with homecoming? And we're preseason ranked with football number 4 in the country this year, and coming off a conference championship. And we're very proud of our football program. And there's a lot of momentum and excitement around Hornet athletics. I would tell you, as I said, we're looking at models right now to have maybe limited fans in attendance. So I'll give you an example. Instead of having 20,000 fans, that may be closer to 4,000 or 5,000. And there may be a whole protocol of how we even determine who those are and what that looks like and how we spread them out in the stadium. So that can certainly be a change. We are committed to continuing CW31 for football. All of our games will be televised if we have a season. They've committed to televising every Hornet football game. The ratings for Hornet football last year were the highest outside of the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento last year. So we drew better than the Republic, and we drew better than the River Cats in TV ratings. So that's exciting. CW31 is committed to continue to provide that platform. Obviously, the games will continue to be on 1320 ESPN radio, and then all of our sports will have the ability to have all of our games streamed live on hornetsports.com. So no matter what, we'll deliver multiple platforms for alumni to follow Hornet athletics, no matter if we have fans in attendance live, which hopefully we're able to do, or it's without fans and we have to do it in an environment with no fans in attendance.
All right. I may be misinterpreting this question, but I'm going to ask it how I'm reading it. The attendee asked how information is being shared with potential athletes. So I'm taking that as like students who may want to play college football or college sports, and in this time period where things are so uncertain, how are they being communicated with, and how do they express interest in football or other sports?
Yeah, obviously, we're doing the best we can to communicate when we know things. It seems to be changing. As all of you know, this pandemic has been very fluid. It almost changes by the week in terms of what's happening. But when we know something or we are making decisions, we're putting that out in as many platforms as possible, whether it's through our social media channels, our website. If a student or a prospective student or someone who's interested in playing sports, or a returning student who wants to go out for a team, I'd encourage them to send an email. Send an email to our coaches or to me. We're pretty good about responding to email, especially in this climate. I've been really amazed with how our coaches have gotten used to technology. Teaching Coach Taylor how to use Zoom was a project, but he's a master at it now. So it's been pretty neat to see. So yes, I would encourage anyone out there, not just students, but any alumni or friends or community members. If you have questions or things, send us an email. All of our contact information is on hornetsports.com, and all of our email addresses, phone numbers, and the best way to get a hold of us is via email.
Sounds good, and hopefully folks will reach out. I know that you mentioned your reduced support coming in from the NCAA this year, and so funding is going to be an ongoing concern. We have Trent Lastinger here on the call, who is responsible for fundraising for Hornet Athletics. I wonder, Trent, if you might want to say a couple words about how folks can support.
Absolutely. I'm Trent Lastinger, Director of Development for Athletics. I played football here 20 years ago, so I'm a Hornet, and I'm real passionate about these student athletes. So anything that can support these student athletes, their programs, helping them succeed, especially during times like these, I'm the one to contact. One thing that I really appreciate about coming back to Sac State is the leadership here. Dr. Nelson's incredible. Mark Orr is incredible, and the coaches that he surrounded himself with are incredible. They work tirelessly to give the kids what they need to be successful. They're always looking through multiple lenses to really try and put something together that's going to help these guys succeed. Every time I'm talking to Mark, it's incredible what's on his plate, and how he's just always troubleshooting and looking through all different ways of how we can get these guys back safely, and so they can be successful. And I just got a lot of appreciation for our leadership, because they are going to get us through this. I think it's really cool that a lot of the folks in the community lean on them, from the little leagues and the schools and the high schools, and they're just wanting to get some even guidance from us that, how can we get through this? And so I just, anything that you guys see how there could help out, whether it's mentoring these kids, internships, or even just helping them get through this challenging time, please reach out to me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Trent. I'm sure you're going to hear from a lot of folks. Mark, do you have any last comments or closing remarks that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I want to thank the Hornet community and all of our alumni and our family. You guys have been great throughout all of this, and our student athletes are excited to get back going. Our coaches are excited to coach them, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to make you proud of the Hornets. This has been a difficult time, again, with COVID-19, and certainly there's a lot of people in our community that have been affected, but you're starting to see it come back slowly but surely, and that's a positive sign. And there's one thing I know that can bring the Hornet family together, and that's Hornet Athletics and Hornet Sports, and being proud to wear our green and gold colors. So trust me, I'm working as hard as I can behind the scenes to put together a good plan in place to bring our student athletes back safely, and hopefully we'll have athletics in front of all of you guys this fall. And it's a lot of work to be had, so still some more steps, but we are headed in the right direction. And I do feel confident you'll see Hornet Athletics in some way this fall.
We hope so too. And I want to thank you so much for giving us some of your time this week. I know it's been a very busy week with events throughout the nation, as well as trying to make a plan to return to sports. So we thank you for your time. We hope to be able to tap into you for an update as we get closer to fall and know a little bit more information. And for those of you online, I did put hornetsports.com in the chat if you want to grab that URL and bookmark it so you can keep track of what's coming in Hornet Athletics. I also want to make sure you know that if you haven't activated your Sacramento State Alumni Association membership, we encourage you to do that. The Alumni Association is now open to all alumni at no cost, so we encourage you to take advantage of that and get involved. We've got a lot of virtual programming planned throughout the summer, so keep an eye on your email newsletters and invitations, and we hope to see you virtually again until we can gather in person. And I think we'd all be remiss if we didn't do a big stingers up. So thank you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. We love our Hornet student athletes. And Mark, please share that with them. Stingers
I
up.
will do. Thank you. Stingers up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Trent. I appreciate all your help.